Hi, I'm MegaJ, the Mega Evolved form of J. Why is it all fuzzy? Why is it all fuzzy? Nintendo has some great characters, villains being no exception. We all know about Bowser and Ganondorf, but what about the lesser known Nintendo villains? What about the forgotten Nintendo villains? The ones that people don't usually think about? Those are the ones I want to look at today. So let's get rolling with the top 5 overlooked Nintendo villains. Wait, I just realised there might be spoilers. If you see a game you haven't beaten, be careful.
スーパーマリオ USA はアメリカ帰りのワンダフルなゲーム。I am the great Wart.
Wart from Super Mario Bros. 2. The Western Doki Doki Panic one, not the Japanese Lost Levels one. So he's this big king frog dude who shoots bubbles.
Fucking bubbles!
He lives in the dream world of Subcon, and he's apparently captured these little Subcon people. They're just called Subcon in the game. I don't know if they're just named off the land or what the hell the deal with them is. Is Wart really the bad guy though? I mean, what do we know about these Subcon guys? We know nothing about them. For all we know, they could be the bad guys. Great job wrecking it, hero. Wart has it rough. He lives in a land entirely filled with vegetables, which he's allergic to. Like, really, seriously, incredibly allergic to. As in, throw them in his mouth and he will die. In incredible agony. Also, there's, also the chance that he might not, exist. So there's that. He's only ever had one game. Though he did make a rather interesting cameo in Link's Awakening of all things. I guess they thought he'd fit in the whole It's a Dream sort of theme. That and, well, actually a lot of Mario characters make cameos in Link's Awakening. Heck, Kirby even appears in it. How exactly he became a famous singer though, I have no clue. The song he sings actually sounds downright distressing. And yet, somehow, this song brings dead things to life. So, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Of course it does. I'd really love to see Wart show up in another Mario game. He's a really early villain of the series, and I think he deserves a little bit more respect. It'd also be pretty cool just to see what he has planned next. That is, if he's not actually dead. He's probably dead, isn't he? That's the answer to all this. He's just dead because we killed him. The clue was right in the game. Oh. You think Bowser's kidnapped Princess Daisy? Ha! Think again. The villain I'm talking about this time is Cloud Guy? Out of the way, Cloud Guy! I'm not talking about you! Get those chickens out of here! I'm talking about Tatanga, the mysterious spaceman from Super Mario Land. Mysterious is right! I really want to know more about this guy. Tatanga is a little dude. He fights with a heavy artillery spaceship called the Pagosu. He's the main villain of Super Mario Land. He's kidnapped Princess Daisy to marry her and take over her kingdom, Sarasa Land.
Did you know? Each world in Super Mario World has some relation to aliens in the real world.
Super Mario Land, you fucking idiot. Tatanga also appears as a regular boss in Super Mario Land 2, which is pretty interesting. Not often do you see a major villain become just another boss. In fact, in that game he's working for Wario. we took over Mario's castle while he was off saving Sarasa Land in the original Super Mario Land. I know your game, Wario! You sent Tatanga as a distraction to take over Mario's castle. Are you really telling me that the whole of Super Mario Land happened just as a diversion tactic of Wario's? Wow, what a sly bastard. You know, when Super Mario Galaxy was announced, since it was space-themed, I was really hoping that they'd dig up Tatanga as the villain. After all, they brought back Princess Daisy for Mario Tennis on the N64, and they're both from the same game, so it could happen. Interestingly, in the SNES version of Wario's Woods, hey look, another connection to Wario, there's a boss named Katsini, who seems to be of the same alien species as Tatanga. Damn, this is mysterious. I like this little guy. I hope he comes back in some form.
Augustus, please, don't do that. My
Power of Xalatoth.
must never be touched by human hands. The suspense is terrible.
He's gonna go this time.
I hope it'll last.
Pius Augustus, from Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Yes, this is a Nintendo game. They even make this abundantly clear by hanging their logo in front of your face in place of a standard "The End" screen after the credits, as if to say, come on, not everything we make is all rainbows and daisies. Sometimes it's eldritch horrors and bathtubs full of blood. Not usually though. Pius is a Roman centurion. You actually play as him in the first chapter of the game. Pius's level serves as a tutorial of sorts, just because he's that much of a badass that nothing phases him. He has great strength, health, stamina, and unlike every other character in the game, he doesn't have a sanity meter. You see, one of Eternal Darkness's most unique game mechanics is that characters can lose sanity, and when this happens, all hell breaks loose. It's great, I love it.
Well, that's unfortunate.
This can't be happening!
But Pius doesn't even have a sanity meter. Either this is just because he's a really, really tough Roman centurion, or perhaps he's, well, insane from the get-go. It actually makes sense. He becomes the game's main villain, basically. Pius gets called to this mysterious temple by the Ancients, Lovecraftian abominations from another world. And after choosing his starter Pokemon, the artifact you select chooses which Ancient Pius becomes the avatar of, and by extension, which Ancient you're mainly facing off against. Pius is a dick. In every chapter of the game, he's always somehow behind what's happening. So he's been orchestrating his Ancient's return throughout the ages. It takes generations and generations of characters either going insane or getting themselves killed before you're finally in a position to actually face him. Pius is a cunning enemy. He has incredible powers, but most of the game he chooses not to use them, using his wits and manipulation skills instead to shape history exactly as he sees fit. I included Pius in this list because, well, he's really not what you're expecting as a Nintendo villain. But yeah, this is a Nintendo-published game. This cunning lich certainly deserves a spot on this list.
Face me, and you shall surely perish.
The Shadow Nightmares, or the Nightmares, or Nightmare, or whatever the fuck they are. From The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. this boss is a mystery. It's the main antagonist of Link's Awakening. It resides inside the windfish's egg at the end of the game, and it's trying to make the windfish sleep endlessly. Sounds like me and the windfish have a lot in common. If the windfish never wakes, its dream never ends, and the nightmares will be able to rule it forever. But ending the dream will end the dream world of Koholint, making this one of the most interesting and morally ambiguous endings to a Zelda game. My throat's all groggy, I shouldn't have eaten takeaway before doing this. What exactly the nightmares are is never fully explained. Actually, all the bosses in Link's Awakening are referred to as nightmares, and the final boss is either some individual changing nightmare or a collection of them. Are they all some single entity, like some kind of hive mind, spreading themselves out across the dream? The final Shadow Nightmare is really interesting, since it takes the form of various enemies that Link's fought in the past, as if it's taking the form of Link's personal traumas, his own personal nightmare. It takes the form of a giant Zol, Aghanim from A Link to the Past, Moldorm, a shadowy version of Ganon himself, a Lan Mola, kinda, and finally a unique enemy and what seems to be its true form, Deathel. Wait, sorry, Death-Eye? Yeah, that's how it's spelled. And my entire life I've been calling this thing Deathel, because it just looks like that, but it's actually a capital I there, so it's Death-Eye, which makes sense, I guess. I actually kind of feel sorry for the nightmare after destroying it. It laments how its world is going to be destroyed. And that's actually pretty sad, because this is the happy little, well, mostly happy, little dreamland you've been adventuring in. All the bosses in Link's Awakening are rather unique for a Zelda game, in that they're all self-aware, and they're all trying to stop you from waking the windfish. Once again, I've chosen a really mysterious enemy. I guess I'm a sucker for those. I want to know more about them. Hey, wait a minute. Water appears in this game. I mentioned this earlier. And this is a dream world just like Subcon. Are the two linked somehow? Linked. Or am I reading too much into this? Yeah, that's probably the case. It's still cool to think about though. Oh, and by the way, the final boss battle with Nightmare, both the music and the battle itself, mwah! It's brilliant. I love it. It's one of my favourite final bosses ever. I should probably save that for another list or something. But I'm not, so yeah. And my number one overlooked Nintendo villain is... now I've got a cold. Not them, not the viruses, these guys? No, I just, literally had a cold. So I made a joke about it. I suffered for your enjoyment. My number one overlooked Nintendo villain is... Captain Syrup from the Wario Land series. Captain Syrup is a pirate who deals with this Root Crew bag of food dude. And actually, it's kinda debatable whether she's actually being more or less of a villain than Wario is. I mean, they're both trying to steal other people's treasure, you just happen to be playing as one of them. In fact, in the Wii Wario Land, they're kinda on the same side for once, kinda? Ish. Syrup first appeared at the end of the very first Wario Land. You have no idea what Captain Syrup looks like. The manual just describes the captain as known the world over for being a really rotten and ruthless guy. So, once again, Nintendo tricked us into thinking a character was a guy. Yep, they dropped another Metroid on us. She's the very first main female villain in the extended Mario universe. Way before Cackletta and the Shadow Queen. We finally see her upon reaching her room at the very top of Syrup Castle, where we're given just a moment to take in this revelation, before she sicks a fucking giant genie on us. Why does no one ever talk about this plot twist? Or Syrup herself, for that matter. She's cool as heck. At the end of Wario Land 2, in the really final chapter, we seem to see that she's spawning her minions from some disturbing, messed up, living abomination of a cave. What the heck kind of black magic science is she playing with here? What power did she use? What kind of hoodoo do she use, dude? Whoa. If she can create a living army as well as crazy battle mechs, then Burtnick and Dr. Wily ain't got nothing on her. Speaking of which, these classic platformer villains, they sure love their weaponized flying pod things. Captain Syrup easily gets the #1 spot. She's a very competent villain, with an army of weird animal people, an island base, a ton of final boss approved hardware, and a reputation as a ruthless pirate. She's wilier than Wily, actually managing to trick Wario out of all of his loot, and get the last laugh. She's even been in 3 whole games, most of the time as the primary antagonist. So she's no one-game wonder like a lot of the members of this list. She's overlooked, and doesn't deserve to be, as I'd say about the whole Wario Land series in general. But we'll get to that another time. Captain Syrup is a badass. She ain't afraid to steal her treasure directly back from Wario, the one who defeated her single-handedly in the last game. And after being chased across the world and getting all the loot stolen back again, she even goes as far as to completely con Wario out of his money again, and get away with it this time. See, she pretends to help Wario in Wario Land Shake It, Dimension, Face, Guy, Thing, Person, and spends most of the game, oddly, as a shopkeeper. Pretty weird. But you know what? Even if she was just a supporting character this time, I was still totally stoked to see her back in a game after all these years. And Ludwig von Koopa. He looks like Krusty the Clown, and he does Michael Jackson poses in Mario Kart 8. I just like him, okay?
Yeah, those are some good villains, is there? Until next time, get out of here! I want to play some games.
Get out of my house.
Until next time!
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you'd like to rate, comment and subscribe, that'd really help me out. Oh yeah, and sorry about the lack of a pop filter. I'm gonna sort that out. Also, I'm really trying to turn this into a proper series, so if you'd like to support me on Patreon, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. But either way, enjoy the videos and have a good time.